Guys, Andrew Beckford here with Motor World Hype, here with Craig Sullivan, the creative director of Need for Speed Rivals. We saw Need for Speed Rivals for the first time during the E3 press conference, but I'm here with the man himself to kind of get into the mechanics of the game. Now, I played a lot of the Need for Speed games in the past, and the general theme is, you know, you're either a racer or a cop, and you're at odds with each other. Is that kind of what the Rivals theme is about?
Yeah, the rivalry in the game is all about one of the age-old rivalries in video games, playing as a cop or playing as a racer against each other. So you can play as a full career on both sides, so you can play all the way through the game as a racer or all the way through the game as a cop. You can play like 30 minutes a racer and stop and switch around if you want to. It's completely up to you. So that's really cool. It's also about the rivalry between you and your friends, played out through Autolog. So you played Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, Almost Wanted. Autolog system was in that game. It's back and big and kind of badder and better than ever in this time around. So you get to play the rivalry of cops versus racers, you versus your friends in Autolog, all together in a brand new world through an all new system we call All Drive, which destroys the line between single player and multiplayer. It's a very fresh new take on Need for Speed.
What were some of the other ways that you kept the gameplay fresh from previous games? I mean, the theme is still the same, even though you've done it in a new way, but what are some of the other little nuances that you've changed in this new version of Need for Speed?
So, I mean, you know, there's many different ways. I mean, the basics are we have, you know, a whole new set of cars in the game. So Ferrari's back in the game. Ferrari's been away from Need for Speed for 7 years, so we're really glad to have them back in. I was driving when you showed me play the demo, and actually you drove it as well, right? So you were playing in the Ferrari F12 Berlinetta, which is amazing car. It sounds amazing. You can't hear anything here properly because it's chaos at E3, but it sounds really cool. So we're really glad to have Ferrari back in the game. But also the fact that people can play on the cop side, they can play some really high-end, super exotic cars that go 200, 250 miles an hour plus. So that's just the basics of the cars. Then you throw into the world the fact that the game is set in an all-new location, Redview County. It's over 100 miles of open drivable world. Then we throw in the fact that we're on Frostbite 3, so we can have amazing weather visuals. So we can drive in the pouring rain, we can drive in the sunny kind of sandstorms of the desert, or we can drive in the snow up on the mountain. So those kind of visual influences change the way you drive. Then you throw in the all drive element of being able to play through a race, and all drive allows me to have my friends join seamlessly into my world, whether or not they're playing as a racer or a cop. So they can come in and get into the mix with me and really kind of change the way you're playing. So those things, you know, that plus a load of other stuff just really changes it. So it's a very fresh, very next-gen feeling Need for Speed.
One of the things that really got my attention when you gave the presentation yesterday was the addition of the speed points and how that mechanic works. Can you talk a little bit about that so that my readers know what that is?
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to get excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so when you're playing as a racer, everything you do earns you speed points. So that goes to the top of the screen. But the longer you stay out, the more you mess with the cops, the more you win races. You'll actually have a modifier, a multiplier will appear on the screen, and they'll say, you know, ×2, ×3, ×4. The longer you stay out, the more you risk it, the more you put it on the line. That modifier will keep increasing, which means you earn more and more speed points, right? But the cool thing about it is you don't own those speed points yet. You have to drive back to the hideout safely without getting crashed or busted to then bank them at the hideout. So if you get back to the hideout, you can bank them. You can use those speed points to buy new cars, to buy the new pursuit tech for your car, or to buy extra kind of decals and kind of paint and rims for your car as well. But the cool part about the scoring is that while you're out earning these speed points, if you get busted by a cop, they take all your speed points away from you, right? So it's, as game creators, we like to appeal to people's basic emotions. And if I was to sum up the scoring, I'd say it's all about greed, right? It's how greedy are you? How long are you willing to stay out? Do you play it safe and bank a couple of thousand points, or do you go big time and go all out and go down in a blaze of glory when you get busted? So it's really cool.
So again, if I'm a cop, I can steal speed points away from a human racer should I come across them and bust them.
Yes, and the AI guys will do that as well. So as a cop, you can chase after AI racers, and you'll see their heat level, which will show you how many speed points they've got available to them. So you might have two racers next to each other. You'll see one is at a heat level 25, one is at a heat level 4. You're going to go for the guy with a higher number, right? Because if you bust him, you have more speed points to gain from him. So it works with AI, it works with humans. It's a really easy to understand, a really fun mechanic that drives people to take their own risks and get the adrenaline going.
Okay, so I'm noticing that as a racer, it feels like there's a little bit more risk on that side because you're the only one who lose something that you earn, whereas a cop, you just got to find the biggest bounty. Is that something of a social commentary on law enforcement versus street racers?
I don't know. I'll leave that up to you. I think, from our point of view, we just wanted to make the two sides play as differently as possible, right? So it makes sense that if you're running from the cops as a racer, I've never done that in real life, but I imagine it makes you feel like you've got a lot to lose, right? If I get busted because I'm not stopping, I'm going to jail, right? So we can't really send you to jail in the game, but we want that feeling of I've got a lot to lose if I get busted. The cops are not about that. The cops are like this, the faceless force that are just like everywhere trying to get you down and trying to, beat you down and bust you and take these speed points away. So the cops don't have that the same risk reward, right? When the cops roll, they're taking things away from the racers. So is that a social commentary? I don't think so. Not much, but I think it's just a really cool way of playing the game. It's a lot of fun.
So when can we expect to get our hands on Need for Speed Rivals? When will it be out on the next gen systems?
So we've announced that we're coming out on the current gen systems on November the 19th. So that's Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 and PC. And then on the next gen systems, we're going to be launching on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One sometime later this year.
All right, cool. You heard it. Sometime later this year, once you get your next gen console, you'll be able to play Need for Speed Rivals. This is Andrew Beckford here with Craig Sullivan.